Hala, si Lola Bening! Hala, oh my God! Si Lola Bening!
Inaabot na guys. Inaabot yung mga motor oh. Hala, yan na.
Typhoon Fung-Wong has made landfall in the Philippines, where more than 900,000 people have been evacuated. The storm was upgraded to a super typhoon with sustained winds around 185 kilometers per hour, 115 miles per hour, and gusts of 230 kilometers per hour, 143 miles per hour. The eye of the storm hit the Aurora province in Luzon, the Philippines' most populous island, at 21:10 local time, 13:10 Greenwich Mean Time. The country's meteorological service has warned there is a high risk of life-threatening and damaging storm surge with peak heights exceeding 3 meters 10 feet as the storm moves northwesterly across Luzon. Fung-Wong, known locally as Uwan, comes days after an earlier storm. Kalmaegi left a trail of destruction and nearly 200 people dead. The storm passed near the eastern Bicol region, the first part of the Philippines to be affected, on Sunday morning before making its way past the Polillo Islands on Sunday afternoon. Several schools have either canceled classes on Monday or moved them online, while nearly 300 flights have been canceled. Fung-Wong is expected to weaken after making landfall somewhere between the districts of Baler and Kingston, but it is likely to remain a typhoon as it travels over Luzon. Over 200 millimeters of rain is forecast for parts of Luzon, even 200 millimeters in the Metro Manila area. This is expected to cause severe flooding and landslides. Eastern parts of the Philippines had already begun experiencing heavy rains and winds, a weather officials said on Saturday evening. While much of the country is expected to be affected, there are particular concerns about those areas that could take a direct hit, including Kingston, an island in the east of the Bicol region, where extreme conditions were reported on Sunday morning. Residents there, as well as in other low-lying and coastal areas, have been urged to move to higher ground by Sunday morning. In the Aurora region in eastern Luzon, BBC News spoke to Haganoy, 21, who works at one of the dozen hotels which line the coast in Sabang. He said police have repeatedly visited in recent days to ensure all guests were evacuated ahead of the storm. The hotels were all deserted on Sunday morning. While the tide had risen sharply, Hagonoy said he would stay as long as he could to guard the property before riding his motorbike home to safety. Staff had secured the gates and tied windows shut with rope to try to stop the glass from shattering in the wind. In central Aurora, more than 200 people arrive at a shelter in a sports center. Many parents have brought young children, too young to remember Typhoon Haiyan, which killed more than 6,000 people when it struck the Philippines in 2013. Fung-Wong has also forced the suspension of rescue operations following the passage of Kalmaegi, one of the strongest typhoons this year. Heavy rainfall sent torrents of mud down hillsides and into residential areas. Some poorer neighborhoods were obliterated by the fast-moving flash floods. At least 204 people are now known to have died in the Philippines as a result of the earlier storm, while more than 100 are still missing. 5 people also died in Vietnam, where strong winds uprooted trees, tore off roofs, and smashed large windows. The Filipino government declared a state of calamity across the country after Typhoon Kalmaegi and in preparation for the coming storm. It has given government agencies more power to access emergency funds and fast-track deliveries of essential goods and services. For some Filipinos, the devastation wrought by Kalmaegi has left them even more anxious about the storm to come. The Philippines, located near the area where Pacific Ocean tropical weather systems form, is one of the most vulnerable countries in the world to cyclones. About 20 tropical cyclones form in that region every year, half of which affect the country directly. Climate change is not thought to increase the number of hurricanes, typhoons, and cyclones worldwide. However, warmer oceans coupled with a warmer atmosphere, fueled by climate change, have the potential to make those that do form even more intense. That can potentially lead to higher wind speeds, heavier rainfall, and a greater risk of coastal flooding. The typhoon was on track to make landfall in Aurora province later Sunday or early Monday, according to the government's Weather Bureau. With an expected rain band of 1,600 kilometers or nearly 1,000 miles, Fung-Wong was expected to dump heavy rain over a large swath of the archipelago, the Weather Bureau said, including the main island of Luzon, the nation's commercial and political hub. More than 1 million people across 12 regions were preemptively evacuated ahead of the typhoon's landfall, according to the Office of Civil Defense. The government also ordered the suspension of all classes in metropolitan Manila, a sprawling metropolis of nearly 15 million people, until Tuesday. The effects of the storm were already being felt on Sunday. At least 2 deaths were reported, one from falling debris in Samar province and the other from drowning in Catanduanes, according to the local authorities. Defense Secretary Gilbert Teodoro urged residents to heed evacuation orders, saying that failure to do so could put the lives of police officers, soldiers, firefighters, and others at risk. In the eastern Bicol region, at least 50,000 families were evacuated. Bernardo Rafaelito Alejandro IV, Deputy Administrator of the Office of Civil Defense, said at a news briefing. Some power outages are being experienced in different parts of the Bicol region, he said, but we haven't received a report yet of any flooding or landslides. The armed forces of the Philippines deployed 243 search, rescue, and retrieval teams to key areas, particularly in northern and central Luzon. Those teams are manned by about 1,500 personnel, with the Northern Luzon Command leading immediate response efforts in coordination with other units and local disaster response agencies. The command stands as one in preparing for the possible adverse effects, said Lieutenant Gen. Aristao Gonzalez, Northern Luzon Regional Commander. He said the military was committed to deliver immediate assistance and ensure the safety of our people. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on Saturday had urged the public to cooperate with the authorities. Every second counts, he said. I would like to remind everyone to keep calm, listen, and follow the advice of their respective local governments and to evacuate if you live in vulnerable places. Fung-Wong is expected to cross over northern Luzon and remain at typhoon strength through Tuesday. By midweek, it is expected to turn toward Taiwan and weaken. Fung-Wong will be the 21st tropical cyclone this season in the Philippine area, although not all have made landfall. While the frequency has not changed much on average in recent years, scientists say climate change is making such storms more intense and destructive.
Ano oras na, Bin? Sitwasyon ngayon, 11:31 ng umaga po dito sa Bagyo, Biracatanduanes. Ayan po. Ayan.
At least 2 people have been killed in the Philippines as Super Typhoon Fung-Wong slams into Philippines' eastern seaboard with heavy rains and strong winds cutting power in large areas of the Bicol region, according to the authorities. The storm, with a radius spanning nearly the whole of the Philippines, made landfall in Aurora province on the main island of Luzon at 9:10 p.m., 13:10 Greenwich Mean Time on Sunday, the state forecaster reported. More than 1 million people evacuated vulnerable areas ahead of the typhoon's landfall as sustained winds of 185 kmph, 115 miles per hour, and gusts of up to 230 kmph, 140 miles per hour, battered parts of Luzon, the Philippines' most populous island. The new typhoon came days after Typhoon Kalmaegi left a trail of devastation across Southeast Asia, killing 204 people in the Philippines and at least 5 in Vietnam. More areas across Luzon were placed under the highest and second highest storm warning levels, while Metro Manila and nearby provinces remain at level 3. As a safety precaution, several airports, including Bicol International Airport and Sangli in Metro Manila, have been closed. The Civil Defense Office reported that 1 person drowned in Catanduanes and firefighters recovered the body of a woman trapped under debris of a collapsed home in Capalagan City. Authorities warn that Fung-Wong could blanket nearly the entire country. Officials urge residents in coastal and low-lying areas to seek safety. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has declared a state of national emergency. Named locally as Uwan, Fung-Wong is the 21st storm this year to hit a nation that normally has about 20 a year. It is expected to head northwest from Monday and then north by Tuesday, remaining at typhoon intensity, said Weather Bureau PAGSA. By Wednesday, it is projected to move towards the Taiwan Strait, weakening before landfall in western Taiwan on Thursday. It is then forecast to lose strength rapidly before emerging over the waters of Ryukyu Islands as a weak tropical system. According to the Office of Civil Defense, Kalmaegi displaced more than 500,000 people. Nearly 450,000 sought shelter in evacuation centers or with relatives as rescue crews continue to search for more than 100 missing people. In Vietnam, state media reported 5 deaths, 3 in Dak Lak province and 2 in Gia Lai, and 3 people missing in Quang Ngai City. The storm destroyed or damaged nearly 2,600 homes and cut power to more than 1.6 million households. In Quai Han, residents emerged to find metal roofs and furniture scattered across streets, while shopkeepers laid out soaked goods to dry.
Sitwasyon diri sa mga karon, naani sa highway.
Authorities said more than 537,000 Vietnamese had been evacuated before the storm hit, with Kalmaegi dumping up to 600 millimeters, 24 inches of rain before weakening into a tropical storm and moving into Cambodia.